Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer Neil.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have the true story of the theater. So, we did the theater a few weeks ago. And, we decided to return to the sequel to see, maybe the sequel has more information, stuff like that about it. And then when we read it, we found out that it's not really a sequel so much as like a fanfic sequel. So like a
fequel.
Yes, as you coined earlier off recording.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So this is the true story of the theater is done by Retardo the It was posted on creepypasta. It was at least posted by them on creepypasta.wiki in June of 2011. I found out that the theater was posted October 2010. Actually, some interesting about the theater, doing some kind of the backdrop research a little bit. Really, just me looking at the backdrop stuff. The user tag for the theater was an IP address. Like the guy who posted the person who posted it left their signature is just an IP address, basically in numbers.
Was it typed in at the end of the pasta?
No,
or is it submitted by so and so? Their
user page on creepypasta.wiki is just this IP address.
That's the name of their account.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's odd. Kind of again giving another anonymity to the whole creepypasta kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we'll go into the rundown for this one. Basically, this is a debunking of the previous story and game, at least in terms of anything creepy or super creepy in the game as something supernatural. They give a little bit more information regarding the game itself, including the studio who made it, which was Solida Software, which did edutainment software, basically like math suites and learn while you play kind of games.
Mario Does Math.
Yeah, Mario Does Math, or Math Munchies. Remember Math Munchies?
No.
Or Zoombeanies?
No.
Hip hip Zoombeanie! Anyways.
I mean, Number Munchers?
We had Math Munchies in... Actually, was it Math Munch? I think it was Math Munchers in 6th grade.
It's Captain Novolin?
Maybe.
Captain Novolin is a side-scroller where you play as... Novolin is what you take when you're diabetic.
Oh, God.
So it's a learning how to be diabetic.
Yeah, it's kind of like those kind of things. Yeah,
you're jumping over donuts and shit because they're bad for you.
Well, the way Math Munchers is, we're all completely off the rails already.
It's fine.
Was basically you had to solve the equation before the Math Munchers came down and eat 8 more of the clue, eight answers.
Oh my God.
You had to choose the answer before they ate them. But anyway, so that's the kind of game company that made the theater, supposedly. And then they chalk up most of the issues of the game to being the product of a glitchy and incomplete, I won't say incompetent, well, kind of.
It's possible.
Yeah, possible. And incomplete programming. The narrator recalls their own playthrough of the game and how it is basically the exact same as what was recalled in the actual theater creepypasta. Save for a few differences, because there's actually a few more weird levels and character assets in the game. There's a green room with a black floor that crashes if you touch them.
If you touch the door.
I thought it was if you touch the walls. It's not quite said if you touch the walls or the floor.
It said there's a green room with a door on it, which crashes if you touch it.
I actually have it in my notes because I was like, what do you... So here it is. Sometimes you'll spawn in a small room with a black floor and green walls, which will crash which will crash the game if touched.
Oh, okay.
And my thing is the
floor is lava.
Yeah. Well, no, is the floor or is it the walls or is it both or is anyway, we'll get into that in after thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I read floor as door apparently.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's that level. There's also a concession stand and a clerk that are really just a texture on the wall. And then
it gives more detail than the ticket taker.
Yeah, it has a little more detail than the ticket taker. Because there's a few more assets in the background, in the back folders and files of the story, or not the story, of the game. And then there's also, apparently, if you turn around in the game, because the only way I could visualize it, doesn't actually say that you turn around in the story, but apparently if you turn around in the game instead of going toward the ticket taker, you can see the windows of the front of the theater.
I believe is directly to the left of you.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think the right is all the movie posters and the left side's the glass wall.
Oh, okay.
I think.
And then,
I'd have to double check.
Yeah. And then, there's windows going outside, and then there's this creepy, or kind of creepy guy in a long coat, and a really wide smile, and eyes that follow you. And, that unnerves.
Well, he's just out there normally, but after a few repetitions of the game, he shows up at the door, not moving, but his eyes follow you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, that's actually the one thing in the story that actually, or, in the game, that actually unnerved our narrator here. Other than that, he concludes that if you want to, you can probably find a copy of the game online and play it yourself. But it's not supernatural, guys. It's just a buggy, kind of semi-creepy game. Ooh, done. So that's my rundown of the story. So I guess we go into everyone tolerates the grammar inquisitions. So we're going to start with this quote. As far as I know, all they made was learning software. I have a maths suite from them somewhere around here. So the theater was probably meant to be some sort of edutainment game. So I have two things wrong with that quote.
One of them I will correct you on.
Math doesn't need an S?
It does.
Really?
Depending on where you are.
Okay.
For example, in Ireland, they say maths.
Okay, fair enough.
Or Britain, or
so maybe
wherever. It's a regional dialect situation.
Okay, so this might have actually been a product of, again,
across the pond.
Yeah. Okay, but also, I've always heard it termed edutainment, not edumentainment.
Yeah, edumentainment is not a word.
I thought so.
Yeah, take the men out of that.
I don't even think it's a slang.
There's no men necessary.
Yeah, it's just, exactly. Yeah. Equal rights, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've always heard it be edutainment.
Yeah.
Or edu-person-matainment.
No.
Yes.
And then moving on to the next one. I think to look like he's reaching toward you for your ticket. And might be a nitpick, but I think it should have an "it's" after the think. So I think it's to look like he's reaching toward you or for your ticket.
I think it needs to be connected to the previous sentence more.
That would also
because just reading it on its own, you have to make a lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
Like it's talking about the ticket taker's bigger...
The giant, the bigger hand. Which I don't think was mentioned in the original story. Yeah, I didn't think so. And then my last of the of the grammar inquisitions. If you glitch past the mini games enough,
in real life. Sorry.
You glitch in the game, you glitch for real.
Sorry, go ahead.
We need to do just a quick aside. We need to do an Al Dente real talk of staying alive.
I've never actually seen it.
It's so good. It's so trashy, but so good.
Sounds good.
Okay, we'll watch it. Look for that, audience, in our Patreon. If you glitch past the minigames enough, a man in weird-looking... Yes, okay, found it. Found the error here. Okay. If you glitch past the minigames enough, a man in weird-looking jacket, I think it's supposed to be tweed. It's a mess. I think it's supposed to be a man in a weird-looking jacket.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's my grammar inquisitions. I actually did add one after the fact. I actually had to write in.
Yeah.
Because I was going over the story again yesterday just to refresh myself.
Something.
And I was like, oh shit. So yeah. Mikey, what do you got?
I found mine.
All of them?
Yep.
Okay.
All one.
Wow.
Yep.
What, you only had one?
Yeah.
Oh, gamer nil.
Edumentainment. That's how I know it's not a word.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew it didn't sound right.
Yeah. I think it's edumentainment. It's doubling down on the
It's
crossing over.
edumentainment.
Yeah, that's not
Which it should just be edutainment.
Yeah.
Either way. My first one is just reading the very first sentence. It's not something whispered about in certain circles. It's not this, it's not that. So making an It story right from the get-go.
Yeah, really.
Should that be excluded from your It story, Mikey? Because it literally, like, you'd just be reading the first 3 sentences.
I mean,
Well,
it's
actually, that's one sentence.
yeah,
Never mind.
Yeah. So
and I mean,
the story that I have is only 4 sentences altogether, so it shouldn't be excluded.
Okay.
also, if you would like to get technical on this "it" sentence, we do have the context as to what it is.
The title.
It's the fucking title.
It's what came before. Which is the
Exactly.
title.
Yeah, which is what I did for Raghag. Again, check out our Patreon. Just check out Plot Growers, where we discuss a story that I wrote. Anyway.
Yeah.
Plug. Yeah.
Alright, then moving on. Next quote is, the description of the story is actually pretty accurate. My question here is, what is it referring to as story? Because at this point, I didn't know it was referring to the previous story as much. I thought it was like doing its own thing.
Really?
At this point, I couldn't tell if it was referring to... Well, no, here's the thing. I couldn't tell if it was referring to the story of this game or the previous one. Like, talking about the entry he's talking about now or the previous one. It wasn't super clear.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I
Because
picked
the
up
whole
pretty
previous
quickly,
paragraph was talking about this game.
Yeah.
And then the next paragraph starts with the description of the story is actually pretty accurate.
Okay. I mean, I picked up pretty quickly on that this
I
was
did
basically
too.
a reactionary kind of story to the previous one. But
I did too, like the next sentence after that.
But yeah, like immediately.
Yeah. But that could be fixed with the description in the previous story.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Then continuing on from that is that entire paragraph where it's talking about the description in the previous story, first-person perspective with 3D-ish environment, glitchy as hell, Ticket-Taker's egg-shaped with one of his hands huge, looks like he's reaching towards you, blah, 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 blah. So, it kind of contradicts itself because it says that the description of the story is actually pretty accurate. However, it's really not at all because the description in the previous one didn't reference what the Ticket Taker looked like at all.
Yeah.
So it's giving these descriptors saying like, oh, it was really accurate, it did this, the Ticket Taker looked like that, but the previous story didn't say that.
It's almost like the previous. It wasn't so much the previous story, so much as like all the images that followed the previous story. Because there's images of the Ticket Taker online, and actually, I think accompanied the previous story. Right? There was an image of the Ticket Taker from the previous story.
No,
Okay,
I've never seen him.
but oh, really? You've not seen? Okay, well, maybe not on the story, but like when you Google the theater creepypasta,
I didn't have to. You sent me a link.
that's the problem. If you were a normal person, like just searching the theater, not like being given a link, you'd find like a bunch of like images of the Ticket Taker. And it seems like they're basically just describing the Ticket Taker.
Is he egg-shaped with a hand out?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Well, either way, my real problem with this paragraph is the fact that it says, oh, it's super accurate, and here's some descriptors that
Are
make
not
it
accurate.
inaccurate.
Yeah.
So
Also,
that could be changed with, like, list all the things that are accurate from the previous one, and then start with, however, the Ticket Taker wasn't described very well. He was, like, egg-shaped, he had a hand out,
Yeah.
just to show where there's a clear distinction between what was already said and where the new material is.
Yeah, because they really just, I think in the previous story, it just said, like, the Ticket Taker, and then I just immediately, like, filled that in with a pixelated, like, usher.
Yes, exactly.
Like, bellhop. Or
Just like hands
not
out
bellhop.
sides, just standing there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that, like, oh, he had his hand out. Like, I guess, because I think in the story, like, he doesn't even have the hand out. He just has, like, his hands, like, behind his back.
You mean the images?
In the images, yeah.
It's because it's not said,
Yeah,
so.
no.
Less is not always more.
Not always. Sometimes.
Then the next one. Looking back, I don't think the story mentioned this, but to the left where... Yeah, okay. But to the left where you start out, the wall is a row of glass doors. Looking... Glass... A row of doors? Wouldn't it just be 2 doors?
Yeah.
Well,
and
there could be
windows?
4.
Yeah, there could be 4.
Oh, yeah.
2 double doors.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's like Galaxy or like and for the non-Canadians, a Galaxy Theater, because it doesn't exist in the States.
Oh, okay.
Or it's kind of, I think it's a Canadian franchise. Anyway, yeah, theaters usually have like more than just the 2 doors, at least unless you're like a smaller kind of theater, which is probably what this one's closer to.
Maybe.
They usually have, like, just a set of double doors.
So you're saying Americans don't blast off into space to go watch movies like we do?
No.
That's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day. But yeah.
I've seen an older movie theater that had a bunch of glass doors. So
quick aside, was the Cinema 4? Did it have two double doors, like an exit and entry one?
Yes,
it did. Okay, then I stand corrected because I always remember it just as a singular. But I mean,
even in like
size. But
I know I'm referencing a freaking cartoon, but even in South Park,
mm-hmm.
that is meant to be a small theater in their town, and they have two double doors.
That's true. And I mean, I'm referencing what I was referencing the Cinema 4 is basically the old theater that used to be in our hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically just like a small warehouse size building.
It was like half of a building.
Yeah, it was half a building, and then like there was a small there was like kind of the doorway. It didn't have the usher in the middle between the two doors.
No.
It was like in the inside of the.
There's two double doors directly touching.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Either way, so I read that. I stumbled a little bit on it, and I think it's literally just it needs a comma here. So the way it's laid out is, looking back, I don't think the story mentioned this comma, but to the left of where you start out the wall is a row of glass doors. That part doesn't really flow very well. I think it flows better if, looking back, I don't think the story mentioned this, comma, but to the left of where you start out, comma, the wall is a row of doors, blah, 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 blah. Gotcha. And that is the end of my grammar-related discrepancies.
Okay. So on to actual thoughts. I hated it. No. No.
Mikey, what do you think?
We're gonna attack the art. Because there's a piece of art in the story.
There is. I didn't know.
And it makes no goddamn sense. Because it's a not even a movie theater. Like it's like this, like not even like a screen like amphitheater, like where there's chairs and stuff like that. It's a stage theater that it shows with the red curtain and stuff like that, and like a stage. It's basically like an old school like theatrical or operatic stage.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, like, and that's never even shown. We never see that room, or like it's never even described. It doesn't describe a level at all in this game. Like the only like areas we see of the game in the descriptions is a lobby essentially, and a hallway that goes down to said theaters. But we never actually. They just basically pulled a theater image to kind of to like mark that it was a theater.
Like they straight up just Googled theater.
Yeah, and didn't even look at it close enough apparently because it's not even a movie theater.
Yeah.
So
that's what I mean. Like the Google search was probably theater, not movie theater specifically.
Exactly.
To clarify it.
And it does look kind of like something you'd see in like a horror thing or like a creepy. It does look like kind of an old creepy theater, but like that's not accurate to the story. So why did you use that?
Maybe it's a small town and they want to have a dual theater situation.
Maybe.
So they just pulled down the screen.
You know what? I think I'm going to sit on your lap there for a second here.
Why? Why are you here? I don't like this.
Assuming is never a good idea.
Okay, good. Leave.
All right.
Don't ever do that again.
I won't. So yeah, that's just my art attack on this. Is like
art attack.
Oh, that's really sad. That's too soon. Because the guy from Art Attack actually had a heart attack.
Oh, really?
He died of cardiovascular.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I did it after. I was like, ooh.
I didn't even know heart attack was a thing, to be honest.
Really?
I know I didn't.
You didn't have TVO as a kid?
Yeah, but I don't remember Art Attack.
Okay, fair enough. It was a really cool Australian show. I feel like we're getting off topic, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tangent police. Wee wee.
Anyway, so the next thing I have is a quote. Sometimes you'll spawn in a small room with a black floor and green walls, which will crash the game if you touched. My response to that is the walls or the floor crash the game if you touch them. Are you hovering over the floor? Like, I think it means to be the green walls, yeah. But it's not specifically said.
What's the last thing that's referenced? The floor?
Yeah. So it means the floor.
Yeah, it's pointing to the floor.
I think it's supposed to be the walls,
yes.
really. But
okay. So It's actually one of those things where if you look at the floor or the wall, it comes up with an option like touch ? And it has the button prompt.
Oh, it's context sensitive.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you literally touch
click.
It's like Hell Luna.
Yeah.
It's a type, like kind of like you have to punch in an action to actually achieve the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah,
it's very possible.
Mm-hmm. It actually is possible because that's like how you select.
I wasn't
the
being,
different games.
I wasn't being facetious, but it's quite possible.
Yeah.
So that can be corrected one of two ways: either make it like
a little more clear
if you walk into the wall, or if you click on anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then my next one. I mean, a huge smile, like Freaky Fred or Spark Brushel. Google image search if you want. Wow, rude. It's not like other creepypastas have made me do just that. This is just the only story that's, directly brought it up.
Told you to do it. Most of the time it's like, and that's a neat word, I'm going to look what
exactly,
that means.
And I did look up those things. Like, okay, so it's like that weird, creepy, like, super grin with, like, crooked teeth, like almost like the Grinch teeth, basically.
Yeah.
Is kind of what they're going for.
Yeah.
So did you hate that?
No,
it asked you to Google it?
I was just like, wow, like, very few, like, at least in other stories, they just kind of, like, assume you... This one's just like, Google if you want. It's like, you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So, I Googled as well.
I didn't bother because I figured you guys would.
And Freaky Fred is a cartoon character from the TV show Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Spark Brushel is a character from the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney game.
Oh. Okay.
Ace Attorney as in
really
like...
creepy. Like, as a character, like, design.
Yeah.
That one was creepier than Freaky Fred.
Wait,
But
Ace
describing the smile,
Yeah.
I feel like Freaky Fred had the better smile for creepiness.
Also, Ace Attorney, like Phoenix Wright?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the spin-off one before they realized that was a bad idea and then went back to Phoenix Wright.
Oh. So it's a Halloween situation? Where they make this awesome character, they try a different character, and everyone's like, no.
Well,
Give us the original.
Because, like, in that regard, the fans were wrong.
Well, they added a new mechanic, and to add the new mechanic, they added a new character who had a special ability that Phoenix Wright didn't have.
Yeah, but Phoenix Wright always had... We're getting off topic again. Tangent Police.
Also, just a quick aside, I just mean, like, in hindsight, the fans were wrong about keeping Michael Myers, because look at those sequels. Like, Halloween H2O? Really? Or Halloween Resurrection?
Dude, all of them do... Tangent Police.
Yeah.
Everyone, all of the classic franchises out there go shitty.
No, I know.
Like, Jason X. I love Jason X, but it's panda shit.
The thing is, it's not actually... It much like, I think, Friday the 13th, 3 or 4, where the director was trying to be kind of spoofy, it is kind of a spoof in on itself. Like, it doesn't take itself too seriously as a result. That's the thing. It's like we're getting off topic. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go back to the theater.
Tangent Police are knocking down our freaking door.
Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do?
Oh, God, why?
What you gonna do?
We'll stop, I swear.
And that's when Dente Rigamortis got swatted by the Tangent Police. My last quote actually here is the final quote, the final sentence of the story. Again, there's nothing paranormal about the installation. It just doesn't work well. Wow, is this a cousin of Mikey making the creepypasta this banal as hell? Seriously though, I don't know how to take this story. Parts of it could be good, again in concept, but it's mostly just a debunking of the magic of the previous story, which there was only a little bit there to begin with in the original story. I feel like there could be more extrapolated upon for this to be a mundane yet creepy game. Like, this could have been similar to Lost Tapes by Slime Beast and gone the route of, like, explaining how Solita software was mundane, but had some dark secrets behind closed doors and during production of the game. Like, it wasn't anything like supernatural, like a ghost haunting the game, like as far as I can see. But you could have had like
you could have done a better one, like
some like obsessive compulsive like edutainment kind of guy went too dark, basically. Because there's a ton of edutainment games from my childhood that are horror themed. Like, what the hell was it called? It's like fourth grade, like. It's like a haunted island with a witch who took all classmates, and you had to like solve
me that,
and you had to solve all the different, basically you had different classes on the island, like are different levels, and you're like guided by like a purple bat.
Yes.
Or
like Math Munchers.
Or Math Munchers, yeah, if you want to take that way, or Math Blaster, or a more sci-fi approach. Like, and there's other creepy ones like or Zoombinis. Like those Zoombini things are like creepy. Or those like they kind of border. They're on the blade edge of cute and creepy because they're one-eyed biomechanical monstrosities that you have to help along the way, and you're solving problems and doing math and English issues and like music tests basically to help them get along on the levels. So like you could have been some kind of like darker twist on like edutainment games for this thing, but it like there could have been like some further investigation from the narrator in the story to like look into this like Solida software, maybe find it, like kind of go that route. But it just kind of the story just kind of gets cut short. Like it's just no, this game's banal, and like I have it somewhere around here, but it's like just a shitty kind of like. Or I have a couple of games from the company that made it, and like around here somewhere, and like I played it. It's kind of like exactly like they said in the like in the original story, but it's not. And there's some extra stuff here. This kind of creepy. I thought this was creepy, but not super creepy. I don't know what everybody's talking about. Anyway, you can probably check it out online. It's like, what are you trying to say in the story? Like, are you trying to debunk it, or like is it a parody? I'm just trying to like grasp it, like what the message here is for the story.
The entire story is like a comment on the previous story.
That's exactly it. It's like if somebody commented on the
here's what I liked and didn't like about it.
Exactly, yeah.
Here's a way to make it mundane.
Or it's like a comment on the game itself, like on like the game file. Like somebody like on Itch.io. It's a game website. It's basically a market website.
I know that. It's game related. Yeah, of course I know it.
It's where indie games can be purchased. And
stuff. Oh, that's neat.
Or even like just download it for free, depending on like the creator.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically it's like somebody commenting, like doing a review on an Itch.io site page with like about the game that's on there. Like
say like it might not work, but you know yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I'm just not sure what you're trying to say in the story. Is it for the game or not? Like they debunk the supernatural but comment on some creepy things in game that you added into it, and even if they are mundane, they are a little creepy and unnerving. Like the guy at the long coat outside the window watching you at all times. That's creepy. In a mundane way, and even like just like why would you put that in an edutainment game? And then you suggest playing the game at the very end when all is said and done, even though you said like it's not creepy, guys, it's not crappy pants. Oh my god, it's creepy, but there's some creepy things in it, and you might like it. So download. Like that's kind of what like why? Like that's what I was left with in the story. It's like why'd you write this?
Also, that descriptor is almost like. Sometimes how we recommend shit, we're like, it has creepy things in it, but you know, if you're into this sort of thing, maybe you like.
Yeah, but I know, but I mean, like that's we're a review show, we're a discussion show. Like this is supposed to be a story, like supposed to be kind of a sequel to the previous story, but it completely debunks all the charm of the previous story.
Yeah.
So, Mikey, you seem to have something to say.
I feel you've clearly missed the creepiness in this story.
Oh, have I?
Yes. For you see, this story is written by Swirly Headman.
Why?
Because he's trying to make it not creepy so that more people play the game so he can haunt more people.
So there's got to be a third sequel that's just like a survivor of a playthrough of this game. It's like it's all the true stuff, true truth,
the super serial real story,
the super serious truth behind the game, the theater. And it's like the previous sequel was a lie. It was all a ruse by the Slurly man. The Swirly man. Oh, the Swirly head man. To, like, get more people into the game. Because if you die in the game, or if you watch movies in the game, you watch movies for real. I just like, yeah. Okay.
Is it bad that
actually, I kind of want that sequel.
I was just going to say, is it bad that I kind of want that to be...
I kind of want a counter sequel to this counter sequel.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of want there... Like, I feel like that would actually make it better.
Should we just write it?
Maybe. We could write it. I mean, God willing, we've come up with enough ideas from other creepypastas to, like, do, like, fanfics for them.
Yeah. We've made an entire subplot amongst all...
Yeah, in our headcanon, we have, like, the
Supernatural Task Force.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. Do you think the Tangent Police are part of the SNTF?
They might be a division.
Okay, we'll stop. All right. All right. Okay, so... Okay. But yeah, that's my actual... Sorry, I forgot. I'm still on my actual thoughts. That's actually the end of my actual thoughts. I was left like, what? Like, what are you trying to say in the story? Like, it contradicts itself on multiple levels. So,
yeah.
So, Mikey, what do you got?
Well, I already had my meat and potatoes.
Did you just like you hopped up nice? You jumped into my spotlight for once.
You're sitting down here for dinner, and then Cultist reaches over and just grabs your meat and potatoes like, right off your plate. No! You at least shared it.
Yeah.
You had to fight for it, but you shared it.
Alright, so
It's worth the peas of your notes if he's got the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, the issue, or one of the issues I had, was the references to things that are old enough that I've forgotten about them.
Courage Cowardly Dog stuff.
Courage Cowardly Dog. I saw a few episodes. I might have seen that character, but it's been so long that nothing there. Apollo Justice Ace Attorney game. I played it way back when.
That's one step closer than what I had. I've never even played the first game.
And then there's also mention to Gygus.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Yeah, the Earthbound.
From Earthbound. I did not get that at all because I haven't played Earthbound.
That's the one I got.
That's the only one there's two I got in the story. Gygus, and for the audience at home, if you haven't played Earthbound, you probably should, because it's very creepypasta as fuck, especially for a video game creepypasta kind of.
It's not a really slow build.
It is a slow burn, but it is really good.
Yeah.
But Gygus, spoilers for a game that's been out for like 30 years or 20 years, 30 years maybe. About 24 years now, but good try. Came out in 1995 in North America. An old game. The main villain is like kind of all warped, is like a warped face. Kind of like Swirly Headman in a way, but it's more or less just like a weird distorted like swirl like face. And and the creepiness actually doesn't come from the face itself, but from the negative space in the image. Kind of looks like a fetus.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people draw comparisons, and that's where the conspiracy theories spawn from, like Earthbound, and was it intentional or not, or something like that. That and the mayor from in the story, it also drops the mayor from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. But at least with that one, he specifies from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, he doesn't even say where the other ones are from.
Gygus from Earthbound.
Yeah. Or Fear or Freaky Fred.
Yeah, Freaky Fred and
I didn't even know what they were from.
Russell, yeah,
but at least it says Google it.
Yeah, but
that is true.
The key is the first one where it references Night Before Christmas. You have a reference it's a character from Nightmare Before Christmas. I instantly have a visual.
So there's no consistency.
To be fair, though, on that, he says the mayor from that movie, because the mayor doesn't have a name, I don't think, or a well-known name. But if you say the mayor from that, you know instantly with that character. Freaky Fred, you might know what that channel, what it's from, and same with the other, or the Spark one, or Gygus.
Yeah.
But I think what Mikey's getting at is it brings up the mayor, and says where he's from immediately, but the rest of the references don't also follow suit by saying where they're from.
I get what you're saying there. I'm just saying the reason why it was done this way is because the mayor is a very generic name compared to the other ones, which actually if
you can just say the mayor.
If you type in mayor, you're just going to get a whole bunch of characters named Mayor because there's a bunch of characters that are just called the mayor. What's the mayor? What's the name of the mayor from South Park? Gamer.
What's her name?
But if I say the mayor from South Park, you know exactly what it is. But if I say the mayor, there's the mayor from Powerpuff Girls that's just called the mayor. The mayor's There's it's just it's a title. It's a title more than a name. So by doing giving this one reference, that's why I'm explaining why this character name drop got his the reference is because if you say just the mayor, that there's a lot of characters named that. So,
but then at the same time, he specifies the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas. Why didn't he say Gygas from Earthbound? Or
it'd be quicker to name drop where they're from than have an entire sentence saying Google it.
No, and I get that. I'm just saying I'm explaining why they left them out because those ones are individual names versus a generic title name.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still wrong. But to not do it. But also, I like how Gamer is still trying to figure out what the mayor from South Park is.
It was bugging me. I have to Google it. It's going to bug me.
Does she even have a name?
Mayor McDaniels. I've never even heard that.
Right, okay, exactly.
I just call her Mayor.
Exactly.
Alright.
You just proved my point. That's why why this one character name drop was given their reference because there is no reference point.
Yeah.
There's no reference point really needed for the other ones because if you Google those names, you're instantly going to get them. If you type in mayor, you're not going to just get the mayor from that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Yeah, so that was my main gripe.
Yeah,
that came out of the story is the references to things without
giving context to where they're from.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair. It's again kind of like the issue whenever you reference something from public culture that you might be completely familiar with, but your audience may not be. It's all about context, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. If it's something somewhat obscure, you sort of have to reference it.
Gygas is kind of an obscure. I mean, it is a pretty popular game.
Yeah, but if you name dropped Mario, you wouldn't have to reference it because everyone fucking knows who Mario is.
It's also the name of the game, so it's like Mario and Luigi Mario.
If you had to name drop Luigi, or Yoshi,
Again, those characters are super well known. Yeah, exactly. Their names.
Princess Peach,
same.
Also has her own game.
Bowser has his own game.
Princess Zelda
has her own game.
Link
has his own game.
I'm specifically picking characters that have their own games, by the way.
I know.
You best go with Waluigi or Daisy.
Because even Mario
Daisy,
has his own.
I would say Waluigi's even a bit of a push because everyone, yes, Waluigi's a little bit more obscure, but most gaming communities know Waluigi at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Daisy's more obscure.
I know, that's what I mean. Daisy's the more obscure one to go. Yeah, because Daisy you need to actually know, because Daisy's just a regular name. Oh, yeah. All right, we'll stop. All right, don't fly out the door. All right.
All right. So, anyway. Then I have an It story.
Ooh, yes.
Would you like to do the intro as you normally do, Gamer?
I mean, we take turns.
Okay. And now, an It story by Mikey. The E stands for evil. Take it away.
It's not something whispered about in certain circles. It's not something that comes in a plain-looking jewel case. It's not by a nameless, untraceable developer. And it's certainly not supernatural. It's not terrifying. It's never filled me with a sense of dread. It's just a bit creepy. It's been years, but here are some of the effects I can remember. It's basically just a big yellow concession stand mural.
For a second there, you were almost doing a better, more streamlined rundown than like what I had done earlier.
Yeah.
And then it's just a yellow concession sign.
Just a mural.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. So it's just a poem for something that's in a theater.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So yeah. that was a very good It story.
It's story.
It's story. Apparently I had an accent for a second.
Just for a second, yeah.
Yep. All right.
I kind of wish it just continued with "it's not that" the entire time. Just by the end, it's like, what is it?
Exactly. Well, it's like that. It's like that story that was like, it's not this, it's not that, it's not this, it's not that. It's like you really could have just titled this, "It's not ...
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally.
Gamer Yell, you're on my turn. And my phone is dead.
No, it's hooked up to an IV. It's fine. It's on life support. Live. Yes. Just through will. So, my first note. The game in question is indeed called The Theater, R before E, and was developed by a company called Solita Software. So, is this a different game?
No, it isn't.
Because they're named different.
Wait, what?
The first one's Theater ER. This one's RE.
But it describes the same fucking thing.
I know.
Okay. Oh, maybe he's so maybe the writer of this one was like you like grammar inquisitioning the theater title on the previous one, because I called it The Theater with the RE, not ER.
It's literally a localization issue.
Yeah.
So the original authors in the States, this author is in the UK.
Seems to be the UK, yeah. Or Canada.
Yeah, or Canada.
Because
Yeah.
RE
But
is
maths.
definitely... Huh?
Maths.
That's okay. That
We
one,
don't
yeah,
maths.
that is the UK, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I could buy that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically they were grammar inquisitioning the previous story but like not realizing that localizations.
Mm-hmm.
Gamer, say it with me. I hate the English language.
I really do. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Like, we got localizations, local dialects, like words that mean different things multiple times over.
Oh yeah, I heard
And
another
different
terrible
inflections.
one like that. Police, deal with me here. I heard another one. What is it? Right. I heard this on Game Grumps. Another reason that I hate the English language. Realize is a sentence.
Yeah.
Real eyes in your head. They realize real lies. Like, not.
Yeah. I know.
And buffalo.
And they
buffalo,
are basically almost spelled almost the same in terms like real, RealEyes,
Mhm.
with a space between those two. Realize, Realize, and then realize, Realiles.
Yeah.
It's just like, fuck you.
Yeah, like that could be a sentence. Just
Wow.
essentially saying the same thing over and over again.
Wasn't there something like you can write a sentence with pirate and like I think it's like 12 times just the
It's
word
buffalo.
pirate or something like that.
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
You might be thinking of buffalo.
I thought it worked with pirate too. or
I don't
something.
know about the pirate one. All I know is like buffalo.
We're almost done, I swear.
That door's not going to hold.
I know.
You want to put another sigil on that door to hold them back?
Hang on.
Alright.
That should hold it for now.
Cool. Moving on. So, Solita Software.
I install that gateway to the elemental plane of police.
Yeah, that seems like a bad choice. But yeah, moving on. So, Solita Software is apparently an actual company.
Yeah.
Wait.
Wait, is it?
Yes. But they don't do games. Or at least the one that I could find nowadays does not do games.
Yeah.
They do websites and apps, though.
Oh, okay.
And they're named that because they're based out of Salida, Colorado.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which also lines up to the story saying that it's called Salida, which is
It's an English company, even though it's a Spanish name. But that
Yes.
makes sense because, California had a lot of Spanish influence.
So that's probably where the theater was made back in the day. whether or not it's from the same
If
company
it's
or
even
not.
by the same company, yeah. It could be a complete coincidence.
Yeah.
'Cause apparently, according to the comments, whenever somebody looked up the name for this, they just got these creepypastas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it must be a new company since then. So, moving on, talking about the Swirly Headman. Oh, and just to clarify, the sprite is just a bit creepy, that's all. It's not terrifying. It's never filled with a sense of dread. It's just a bit creepy. Which is completely contrasting to the feeling that the previous story gave, because, specifically you, Cultist, when you read the story, you had a feeling that the Swirly Headman induced players of feeling sick and unable to look at it.
Yeah, it was like a Gorgon effect or a Basilisk hat kind of thing. Like there's something inherently wrong with the imagery that causes people, like certain people, to like
extreme discomfort.
Exactly. Yeah.
But meanwhile, in this, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah. But so basically, this guy or this person is just one of those people that doesn't affect.
It's possible.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of my interpretation of that. It's like, so you're just you're writing the story from the point of view of somebody who doesn't find this creepy or is unaffected by it.
Yeah, like there's certain people that are wired a certain way that they will not be affected by it, but the mass majority would be.
Yeah,
that's possible.
If you extrapolated on that for the story, that would be interesting. But
it would be.
It doesn't really. It kind of the story is so cut short that it's.
Yeah, it'd be kind of nice if the character was like, I showed all my friends and they like.
I don't know why they're freaking out.
Billy threw up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah,
what is it about me that it doesn't matter?
Pussy!
Yeah.
Just do it! Play!
Yeah.
Just like, just have exactly, just like, I don't even know, I
just name him Joe the theater dude.
Yes!
That's his
we might have to write a sequel to this. Like
Joe the theater
we
dude.
might have to do a fan sequel to the series.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Okay, moving on. The game plays pretty much exactly stated in the story. So accurately, in fact, that I think the author just downloaded it somewhere and decided to make a scary story of his experiences. I'll admit that some things can be unsettling, but not OMG, crap your pants scary, blah, 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 blah. So, are you... At this point, I wasn't aware that this was a different author.
Yeah.
Because... Like, you read the first one, it says, click to go to the next part. Normally that's like, okay, that means that
was
author...
because that was established by the admins of creepypasta.wiki. In this case, I believe it was actually like the admins combine these together because they are around the same game and some of that.
They are, but...
It's not a legit sequel, as far as I can tell.
Don't you need permission from the original author to do so?
Unless they're anonymous. Now, this was
it's possible the author said, fine, go for it, but...
That's true. Weird. It might have also been done before this might have been all established by the admins and whatnot before the new rules that came in for fandom, which was basically unless you have the rights, unless you have copyright permissions from the original or credit from the original author and some of that, you can't they're no longer really allowed to post a bunch of that. That's why there was a purge recently.
Oh, okay.
On the wiki site, unfortunately.
That's a shame.
For better or worse, that's now the situation is you have to have credit. You have to credit the authors of these stories.
Yeah.
And I mean that's a good thing to credit the authors. It just sucks that when some of them are just by anonymous, just random folks that didn't want to give their name or anything like that.
But they wrote a good story, but they forgot to reference where it's from.
And because of that, or because they didn't have their name to it, or nobody can find who they are, they're getting purged. Mm-hmm. And so that's the downside of it, really.
For sure. But either way, this section of it left me kind of confused because at that point, this is kind of the point where I'm like, okay, so you're not the original author, I guess. Or you're the original author, but you're playing up a character that's not the original author.
Which is interesting in concept.
Yes.
But it's not executed well.
No. And then it goes on to describing how the game works, picking a poster, playing a game. If you don't pick a poster, it brings you back to the lobby.
Sorry. If you don't pick a poster in the game, you die for real.
If you don't pick a poster in the game, you don't pick a poster for real. Yeah.
If you don't pick a poster in the game, you don't watch a movie for real.
Mm-hmm.
The true horror.
Indeed. But yeah, that whole description of how it works and why it's glitching up because you're not choosing a game.
Yeah.
It's kind of reasonable. Just the mundane explanation of why the glitches happen, because you're supposed to pick this and and then go there. If you go there first, it just resets you. But if you keep doing it enough, it puts the game into a loop and fucks it up.
Exactly, yeah. And because, like, it doesn't it's trying to, like, throw in assets that it doesn't have. Yeah. Which, some of these things have some good points in it. It's just, it's not extrapolated enough on, or it's cut short, or, like, it's not executed well enough.
Mm-hmm. And on the show, we joke about making things mundane and realistic, but that's what it is. It's always a joke. We never actually think something is better by taking something supernatural and make it mundane.
Although sometimes it does.
Very rarely.
Yeah, and only on the show after we joked about it, and then we realized that would be a lot creepier if it was like real world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this case, it doesn't really. It just kind of, like you said before, there's so little.
There's very little magic in the original story. Like not magic. I don't mean magic literally, although I could. I mean like magic as in like the sense of wonderment.
Yeah.
That follows creepiness in this kind of story, because the haunted it follows the kind of the tropes of the cursed or haunted video game.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to utterly take that from the audience after they've read a story, like even if it wasn't that well done, to steal that from them, like, is just basically like adding salt to a wound.
Yeah.
Because it's that final, or like taking hope from somebody. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, that's what I kind of feel like when it comes to like somebody like poking, like, it's like, this isn't fun, like, this wasn't scary at all. It's like, like when somebody actively tries to take the fear out of a horror story, it's like taking hope out of a non-horror story. It like takes the magic, it takes the wonderment out of the story.
Yeah, pretty much. And with the whole descriptor of it being a technically normal functioning game, that also takes away a lot of it, because a lot of the fun of these like weird, messed up games is the fact that they're incomplete and like they weren't supposed to be released and stuff, but apparently it's a fully functioning game if you just pick a poster and go in.
Yeah.
And it only messes up if you purposefully do it.
Yeah. So
I don't really like that description of it. I like that they found a way to make it make sense as to why it glitches, but I don't like that it was done.
Yeah, like maybe like if they had like gotten it that like the paintings are still buggy, like they don't actually when you select them, they don't actually like go there, or they go to weird like the level, like have fun with the level design. Like, come up with some crazy weird
There was
shit.
a little bit, because the
green
wall and the glass wall and the dude outside, like...
Okay, that is really cool. That's... Again, I don't know what the story's trying to tell, other than...
And the, like, in-place kind of concession stand that was put there, like, as a placeholder. Like, I dig the story for that, because it's building that lobby scene more. And I appreciate that, because before, I just had a very standard lobby situation, just like one set of double doors, because I wasn't thinking, just walls with posters on it, ticket takers in the middle, go past them, go.
And then just keep doing that a couple times until you see the swirly head man. And then basically that's just a slender game. Or a slender clone. Pretty
much, yeah. So I dig that there's more description in it, but it's...
not enough.
Whatever it adds, it takes away more.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, the games itself, it sets itself up like it's going to describe the games and...
Doesn't.
Like, creepy shit that could be happening in the games. But it doesn't.
Yeah. The most we get is a green room with black floor that if you touch, presumably the walls, you crash the game.
Oh, no, I don't mean that. I mean, specifically when you pick a poster and go into one of the mini games.
Yeah, no, yeah.
None of those are described.
Exactly.
And that's, like, a lot of good fodder for describing what's going on, or finding out what's going on with all this, why the creepy shit's here, where it's leading to.
Much like in actual game design, you could use those levels of those different movie maps, or the movie posters, as a way to tell a story within the game. Like, tell, like, the narrative of the spooky narrative. Like, maybe there is a deeper story about the swirly headman, why he's a swirly headman.
We freaking did in the last recording.
Yeah, we did. I
said that the swirly headman was a freaking movie star, and the main character is a fangirl that keeps passing out when she shows up she sees him, and then every recurring time, more and more posters are showing the swirly headman because of how popular he is.
Yeah.
Like, there was more story in my bullshit, stupid description of what's happening than what we actually get.
Mm-hmm.
And one way that you could use the mini-games within the game, to make them have a purpose is, yeah, you could just go in, pick a poster, play a game, it's a normal game. But if you go in and glitch the game a few times until you see the poster's offset, and then you click one, when you go into it, all the games are a little messed up.
Yeah.
And there's like some weird little code thing or whatever. Then if you glitch it more, it gets worse and worse.
So, an idea here. And this is more an idea, like a brainstorm for like building upon the game of the theater. Each poster, like this is all done in like the Doom engine, essentially.
Yeah.
Why not have each of those movie posters lead you to basically you play out a movie? Like, and the interface, like the hub, like the kind of like the HUD, like the interface HUD, is actually done up like you could have it done up like Mystery Science Theater, where there's like a silhouette of like the theater like out on the outside and stuff like that, and there's like a person like watching the movie on the HUD there, and then you're actually like playing the game level, like as a movie. So you're in like, oh, this movie's about like an Indiana Jones-esque dungeon crawl through a temple. So you're running through like kind of like using the assets you have. And then like there's some, but then like as you keep playing the mini games, like you keep watching the movies over and over again, the swirly headman becomes more and more the villain or prominent in the levels, and then to the point where like he's like chasing you through each level. Like that would be a cool, like I think both as a game, as a game,
just
play,
as a neat game,
because this is kind of the other thing about this game. This is a case where the story has spawned a better game idea than the game. Like, it's most of the time, creepypasta video game creepypastas are creepypastas based off a coexisting game. But this one is a game that spawned out of a creepypasta. Like, there are at least 2 versions of this game online, maybe more, that you can actually play as a person, like outside of the story, and experience the game, the story that was in the game that was in the story. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting take, but like, so you build the levels like of the movies of different, like basically make them like different movie kind of
different
tropes
genres.
Different genres, and then have like the corruption of the swirly headman maybe keep coming into them.
Mm-hmm. So and I was going to correct you with, but it's an edutainment game, but it's not. No. The company itself normally does that, but this isn't necessarily one.
Yeah, this time they decided to do some kind, or maybe they tried to do something similar, or like, but they did like a Doom clone essentially, or they used Doom's engine to build this game.
Yeah.
So, and I mean that's been done before. Like there's a Chex, Chex the cereal did a Doom clone.
Really?
Where you're the Chex warrior. Basically, you're the Chex marine, and you're fighting giant green blob monster aliens from like the planet Smog or something like that.
No fucking way.
No, I'm dead serious. Like the Drunk and the Ugly podcast, they do Let's Plays on YouTube, and they actually Matt and Charlie from Drunk and the Ugly posted like a whole series of like videos where they were playing through that game. The Chex, and it's basically a Doom clone. Like it is straight up the Doom game. But you're shooting like zapping. You're shooting this like retro future style zapper gun against green ooze monsters that are trying to get your checks.
You're just defending your cereal.
Yeah, you're defending exactly. And like that kind of shit happens all the time. Like that shit happened all the time in the '90s. So like,
I know, but it was like Chester Cheetah, where you're fucking like jumping around and just picking up cheetah paws.
The Burger King game.
Oh, sneaking?
Yeah, sneaking. Yeah.
Sneaking like creepy as fuck.
That shit's like those, like, you can make that kind of game even, like, have it, like, be like an entertainment game, but, like, draped with this Doom game, and then make it creepy.
Also, is there a sneaking creepypasta?
I'm gonna have to look for it. We should also do a Let's Play that sneaking.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sneaking?
I will look that up.
Yes.
Good.
I will look that one up for you to see if there's any kind of creepypasta, or if somebody online would like to comment and let us know about a sneaking
or just Burger King in general.
Yeah,
creepypasta.
We've done Ronald McDonald like 3 times, so there's been like
just because like the Burger King is so creepy.
Creepy, yeah.
It sucks they don't use them anymore.
Yeah. All right. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on.
Yeah.
Before the tangent police kick our asses. My last note is essentially just about the ending, and what I wrote down is, wow, so he just took a big old dookie all over the previous story.
Yeah. Right.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah. Kind of. Mm-hmm. And
I did not like the ending.
Yeah. And that's your actual thought?
Yeah.
That's it? Okay. So on to final thoughts then. Nice segue. I don't think I'll recommend this one. I'm actually a little disappointed at what theater turned out to be. Like, I went online, looked up top video game creepypastas, and people. This is not an isolated incident. I didn't just find this on one website that of like top 20, top 10, top 5 video game creepypastas. Mm-hmm. I found this on like 3 separate websites. One of which was an article praising this story. Like, not this story, but the theater story in general.
As a whole.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, that sounds like it could be good. And we've read the theater, and now we've read the prequel. Or, why did I say prequel?
Because it's not free.
No,
it's
the fan sequel.
Because it sounds like
fecal. Yeah.
Sounds like fecal.
Yes. So the fecal.
Yes.
And I'm just kind of left like, what's all the hullabaloo about?
What's all the hubbub?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's I don't get it. Like, there are creepier games. Like, now, mind you, most of the number one on those lists were been drowned.
Good.
But the princess isn't on any of them at all, and the princess is like one of the most original, like, kind of video game creepypasta like monsters we've ever encountered.
Yeah.
And like, it's not a pre-existing IP. It's its own thing. It just goes across different IPs, which is amazing.
And that clearly doesn't influence their choices because Ben Drowned is number 1, which is just Zelda.
Yeah. Which is Majora's Mask. Not Majora's Mask, sorry. It is Majora's Mask. So, yeah, which is just basically kind of... And let's face it, like, Ben Drowned does get a lot of its staying power from the nostalgia for that Majora's Mask game, which I'll fully admit is one of my favorite N64 games. Probably one of my...
Never played it. It feels like blasphemy because, like...
You know, I'll have to run you through it sometime.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like... I feel like this, like, I don't know why this is on, like, this kind of, like, how to, like, even, it may not be, like, full-on hype for this game, but, like, or for this story, but it feels like the concept is interesting, but the execution is terrible.
This thing is big enough that people have made actual games of it.
Yeah, actual games of it, and it's, like, the creepy, like, one of the games even, like, hypes it as, like, the theater, the creepypasta legend-made game. It's like, what creepypasta legend? I've never, outside of like the last couple of weeks, I haven't even heard of this game, of this story. So yeah, I'm just kind of like left like wondering like why was this like why was there such a push for this game? Like I can kind of get the concept of it, but the story itself is not very well executed.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like, and like again, I like the idea. Outside of the concept of the story, I like the fact that the story itself has created basically some emulated games of the story. Like, I just wish they did a little bit more than what they provide, because otherwise they're just kind of, again, like Slender, like Doom style Slender hacks or Slender clones. Yeah, so at least as far as the story has gone, I just don't understand why it's on like a bunch of like creepypasta video game lists. And, like, the ROM and actual emulated games are cool, but the story I found lacking personally. So, that's...
Are you talking about the theater in general? Or...
The theater in general and the story, like, both of them I kind of found lacking, both of them. Like, as executed. Concept-wise, I like them. I like the idea that there's... I like the fact that there are games that emulate what is described in the stories, though I wish there was more to it. But the stories themselves, both this one and the theater, I found rather lacking in terms of like a creepypasta. So, but that's my recommendations. I don't recommend it. Yeah. Mikey, what do you got?
All right. So
This is the best thing ever, and no, sorry.
well, this is either super mundane and boring, or the swirly head man is just trying to get more victims.
Which makes it really good if you go that route, but we need another sequel from a survivor of the game.
Yeah. Well, we need Survivor. No one's died because of this game.
Maybe they have.
And the swirly man's trying to cover it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is Metal Gear? Just like the way my voice
Yeah. However, I wasn't convinced to go and find a copy of the game, even the fan-made ones.
There's a link to it like twice in the comments of this one.
Yeah.
Although I didn't really want to select it because it's just like the name, like the theater, like, and it's just a link to that. It's like I'm gonna click this, I'm gonna get a virus. Like that's my fear of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it actually is for the Hitman trying to get more victims, he's failing.
Or you're not falling into the trap like mass media does.
Yeah. So I am not going to recommend this.
Yeah. Gamer, you're up.
Well, that was fantastic. It fixed all the problems of the first one. It
did away with that bullshit supernatural.
Yeah, I don't need that shit. No. Joking aside, complete opposite of what I just said. It took everything that I liked about the first one, pulled it out, bent it over a barrel, and just went to town on it.
Just raw.
Sent it home.
Went in raw.
Yeah. Sent it home, made it get freaking, get grounded by its mom, and then kicked his dog. Just like everything you could possibly do to wreck something, it kind of did it.
Like, I kind of like, which is like from the end of Infinity War, where like, Thanos does the snap and he like ends up in the spirit world thing, and like little Gamora's there, and she's like, "So you got everything you wanted? Like you wrote a creepypasta sequel for the theater. What did it cost you?" And then Thanos is just like, and then like the writer of this is just like, everything.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, just like, what did it cost you to write the sequel? Everything. Like all the creepiness is gone.
Yeah.
All the magic is gone. All the.
What I don't understand is someone cared enough to make a sequel to something because they're like, "Oh, I really like this, but I wish it did more."
Yeah.
But what they do with it, like they start adding things. Well, I'm like, okay, they care about the world. They're trying to build the world up, and then they just suck everything out of it.
They suck all the fun out of it.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, here's something new and cool. Here's something new and cool. You like it? You like it? Well, fuck you! Just takes it all away. Sorry for clipping the mic. But, yeah.
Future me is just going to be like...
Yeah, probably. I was not happy by the time I finished.
I honestly, I'm actually surprised we've gone this long talking about this. I thought, like, my notes were literally, like, could probably just be a page.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow, this is going to be like a 20-minute episode, but nope.
No. This is not acceptable.
Yeah.
Like, I hate shitting on someone's work. Okay, because someone put in the time to flush out the world, make new characters and everything. It's just, I don't understand the creative process behind it, that they would want to, at least in my mind, and it's from the sounds of all of our minds, ruin something that had very little there to begin with.
But had something there.
It had a cool premise behind it.
Yeah.
And just the idea behind it, but just, you take everything out of it.
Yeah, and that's really what like we're getting around with the story is like we don't hate the author for writing the story. We just don't understand why they wrote the story like this, or
unless it's like our potential threequel.
Yeah,
where this is all just a ruse.
It's actually just a prompt for somebody else to continue the ad-lib narrative of this story series.
That'd be kind of neat.
I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
Damn it. But yeah, no, it's just like we're not mad. We're just disappointed. Yeah.
You were going to say something, Mikey?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, that's just a couple of schmucks' opinion on this. There's
a couple of schmucks and a demon.
Yes.
There's a couple of two.
Yeah.
Unless you're French.
Why?
Because in French, couple means more than two.
Does it?
Yes.
I feel like, oh, right, we're almost done. I swear. Don't tase me, bro. Oh, God. But yeah, so not recommendation, no recommendation, and
Burn in hell.
no recommendation. So that was this. Do you have anything else to say? Or?
No, that's about it. I just don't understand the heel turn of the story.
Just a single tear rolls down your face.
Why?
Alright, so...
I want video game creepypastas to be good. Why take something that's half decent and make it blah?
Oh, yeah. Alright, so that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, wherever this gets posted. Whether we be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. You can also get a hold of us on Twitter. Mikey is at the Stands for Evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow without the W because he has such a long name.
I can't help it.
And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like to suggest on the show. Guys, if you have any video game creepypastas that we haven't done, check the backlog, and you think are really good, please, for gamer sanity, let us know.
Yeah.
And preferably with a link, not just the name.
How would one go back and check to see, like, what video game ones we've done? Is there tags for,
I could actually go into our YouTube channel and actually make a playlist for
Of
like
video
all video game specific ones. Yeah. I could do that. I could go back and do that because I already do playlists for like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. So, and like crossover ones we do. Like I've done a playlist for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
On the YouTube channels anyway. But yeah, so that's and if if you guys have some video game creepypastas that you think are good and you think that we'd like, let us know. We've been like miring through a lot of shit lately.
I'm glad it's not all shit, because like we've been saying repeatedly, Ben Drowned and Princess, they were sweet.
Yeah.
And like Pale Luna's good too. Like there are good ones out there.
Yeah, Pale Luna, Kill Switch was pretty good, despite the fact that
I keep forgetting it. I need to reread it.
Yeah. There are good ones out there. We just have been going there, unfortunately, because there was actually an oversaturation of not the market, but of the genre on creepypasta.wiki and .com. So there's just a lot of stories that are just copycats of other ones, and they aren't well written because they were just trying to like get like they just were trying to capitalize off the original stuff. Yeah,
like Sonic EXE,
Sally.exe, Sally.exe, Tails.exe, Knuckles. Yeah, there's
seriously
I'm not,
one for every Sonic character.
There is another video game creepypasta we are going to be tackling in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
That is an old one, like beginning of creepypasta old, called the Tails doll. Because apparently there was... As in Sonic. But it's about surrounding, apparently, the creepiness of this Tails doll that came out, I think it was in the Sonic 3D game, one of the Sonic 3D games. And somebody wrote a story a long time ago back, again, the founding of creepypasta's kind of era. Mm-hmm. And I've seen it pop up a couple times, and I just keep forgetting to, like, put it on our show's roster. Yeah. So I finally did it when we started kind of going after video game creepypastas specifically this summer. So... maybe it's when we'll see how that one pans out. But again, if you guys know of a creepypasta that's based off a video game that is like up there, or like you personally liked and thought was really well done, I mean, I can't promise we'll like it, but I can promise
this was on top 10s.
Yeah, but I can promise that we will give it a chance.
Yeah, and every creepypasta we read, video game or not, even if we hate it, like, I don't think there's been a single one where it's like, I wish I didn't read this.
Yeah.
Because they're all fun to read and understand what works and what doesn't work and why.
Yeah, like 9 times out of 10, even if we don't like the premise of the story, the writing sometimes is like, or there's moments in it that made it worth it. Mm-hmm. Or the writing was good, but the concept was bland.
Yeah.
The concept was good, but the execution was blah. Mm-hmm. Like, we find some good in each story.
Try to.
Even ones like Spyro.exe.
Did we? You're tired of crucifying the poor guy. I don't know if we found anything good in that.
I think. Honestly, if you'd like to re-listen to that episode and let us know, the comments down here, let us know. But yeah, anyways, that's our contact information stuff out of the way. If you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon, look up Dente Rigamortis, and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. We got all that stuff there for you. And for our patrons that are already helping support the show, thank you immensely because you're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as ever, we very much appreciate that.
Also, in regards to all those extra shows on Patreon, which shows would you guys rather us do? Because right now, Mike and I have been slowly getting through Reload Revelate.
Yes.
But would you guys be more into doing more real talks or actual plays or anything like that?
Or Clock Rowers, which I haven't posted yet, but should be up by the time I post this.
Yeah. So yeah, any patrons, let us know.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you guys actually want us to do. Because we're open to change...
change up the formula a little bit.
Yeah,
like if you've been getting we're finally getting a little bit back on track on monthly posts of the Reload and Revelate after the long period of we just ran out scheduling issues and such like that. So, but if you're kind of like tired of that and want us to try one of our different segments, let us know and we'll switch up the formula a little bit. So, and yeah, again, aside from the Patreon stuff, the listeners and the writers of these stories, thank you immensely. Because again, without your listenership or your authorship, we really wouldn't have a series or we wouldn't have a show to start to do this. So thank you, seriously, from the bottom of our hearts, even the star-crossed one.
It still technically is hard.
Yeah, that central supernova. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you guys. So until next time, I've been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
This has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.